Okay, let's look at problem 714. This is another one where you want to find the area, you want to minimize the area. You want to make the area as small as possible. So the problem is you have a 60-inch long piece of wire, cut it in two pieces, make a square, make a circle, and how long are the pieces to make the smallest area possible? So in other words, how long is the piece you make a square out of, how long is the piece you make a circle out of, okay, to make the smallest area possible. So, what you do is you draw your circle and you draw your square, and the area of a square is w squared, the area of a circle is pi r squared, so our total area is pi r squared plus w squared, and we want to make that as small as possible. Notice it's got squareds in it because it's area. All area has a square, it has two dimensions in it. But the problem is we have two letters. We only need one. We can only have one letter, and it should look like a quadratic. It should look like a parabola. Then we can use negative b over 2a to find the minimum. It's going to be probably a parabola that opens down because they're asking us for the minimum. It opens down. Sorry, opens up because then we have a minimum. So a is going to be positive. If you get a negative a, you know something's weird's going on because it should open up. And we use negative b over 2a to find that spot. Okay, but we got to get rid of one of those letters. But we know two things. We know that's the area, and we know the perimeter has got to be 60. So the perimeter of a circle is 2 pi r. So the perimeter, which is equal to 60, is 2 pi r. And then the square is 4w, right? It's got four sides, 4 times the width. So plus 4w. Okay, so we have two equations and two unknowns. So what you do is you solve for either w or r, plug it back into here, be really careful with math. I would get rid of all the pi's and pi squareds, make decimals out of them, keep at least 2 decimal places. 3 is probably better, 4 is probably better, keep lots of decimal places. And then you'll get a quadratic in r. So what I would again solve for w here. So I'll get you started here. So we want to solve for w, so I'm going to put the 2 pi over here. So we have 4w is equal to 60 minus 2 pi r, or w is equal to divided by 4. 60 divided by 4 is 15. That divided by 4 is, there's a 2 on the bottom, pi over 2r. And I would make that a decimal, divide pi by 2, put a number there. Take that, square it. You're going to have to square that. Okay, so what's w squared? So be really careful. You're going to get 3 terms. Plug it back into here. You're going to have a pi r squared. You're going to have another r squared here. Decimalize it. Pi is like 3.14, right? You're going to have a square down here when you square this one. Add them together. Do all that stuff. Go negative b over 2a. And you'll find the radius then, because we're going to get rid of w, right? W is going to have r's in it. This is going to have r's in it. You'll find the radius. That gives you the smallest area possible, okay? And then if you want the length, so that's what you have to find afterwards. So you're going to find the radius, then the length is going to be of the circle. So the circle length is going to be 2 pi times whatever radius you get. Okay, so out of all this, you square this, plug it into here, using negative b over 2a, so r is equal to negative b over 2a. You're going to find the radius that gives you the smallest, that gives you the size of the circle. So the length of the wire is 2 pi r. So the square wire is just 60 minus that. So the square is going to be 60 minus 2 pi r, the length of wire for the square. And they give you those two answers, and you should get their answers. I'll just let you know, I got about 4.2 for the radius of the circle. So the circle is about 6 times that. 2 pi is about 6, right? So a little 25, 26 or something. Okay, that's how you find the minimum possible. Okay, you make a quadratic, and it's going to open up, so you can find that point, r, where it's the smallest. Okay, now what if it's the biggest? What if you want the biggest area possible? Well, mixing the two gives you the smallest, and then we're finding the perfect mix to give you the perfect smallest, but having all one or all the other gives you the biggest. They didn't give you the answers, they just want you to think about it and see. They should have given the answers, but basically, all you gotta do is figure out, okay, let's use the piece of wire to make all square, use all circle, compare it to the smallest, and see which is the biggest. Obviously, the smallest is gonna be the smallest. Now, you could probably guess which one's gonna be bigger. A circle is the most efficient shape possible. Having all circle is probably gonna be the best. Okay, so try that. Have it all circle. So in other words, for all circle, then 2 pi r is equal to 60, right? The circumference is 60. And then you solve for r. The r then is 60 over 2 pi. So get a number for that. And then pi r squared, the area then, is pi r squared. So what is that? Take your radius you get here, plug it into here, and get an area for the circle. Then the square is easy, because the square, the area is just pi r squared. Sorry, it's a square, not a circle. The area is just w squared, right? Is w squared, and if it's all square, each side is 15, because 4 times 15 is 60. So that's easy math. So that is 15 times 15, right? 15, 15, 15, 15 adds up to 60 if it's all square. 15 squared is 225. So if it's all square, the area is 225. If you mix them just right, you get the smallest, which, well, you can figure out that one. I think when I got the smallest, I got it as like 120. Let me check. I wrote it down over here. I got 126. I got the smallest area, which is what they want, is 126. If it's all square, it's 225. And try out for the circle one, and you're going to get that it's the biggest. So that's how you solve that one. Okay, hope that helps. Pretty cool problem. And again, it's all about writing 2 equations, solving for one letter in one of them, plugging into the first one, and then you get a quadratic and doing lots of algebra, being really careful with the algebra. It's okay to decimalize the things. They did. It's just easier to get rid of the pi's and stuff. And then you can find out the minimum. Cool. Okay, awesome.